Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 534. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez. You're muted.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo.
Richard Bailey Jr.,
What's up, everybody?
and Brian Manjoma.
Or you could not steal people's artwork. That's also an option.
Yeah, you can do that. Man. All right, guys, we're back with another one question show. A little bit of a hot one. It's so hot that I had to keep some of the guys in line, like, get saved for the show. It's crazy. So we're going to get right into it, man. I'm going to start off with J Shep's question. Manny, this question's right for you, sir. Directly directed at you. But obviously, we could all chime in. What are Manny's thoughts on this whole Bungie stealing artwork situation? But obviously, before you answer the question, can you give us an update? Because we didn't get to talk about this on the last show. Like, what is going on with Marathon and the plagiarism? What is this about?
Because it literally happened, what was it, on Friday?
Yes.
It happened on Friday. Like, in fact, how I found out about it because Gene Park, like, posted a fucking thing, like a thing at like 4 a.m. in the morning, an article at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Crazy.
So it was an interview with the artist, with an artist who did a massive post about essentially a bunch of assets in Marathon are all using their work. So it's like different designs, text designs, like aesthetics, all kinds of stuff. You go. That's, in fact, that is almost that person's style, like of design. So yeah, and then not far after that, Bungie said, "Yep, hands up, we did it."
Oh man.
So it's like it's a big old clusterfuck because, number one, you think, okay, hey, it's a big old studio that's not going to do stuff like this, but the thing that kind of gets my craw on this thing is number one is they knew about it. They threw up their hands instantly and said, yes, a lot of it's been taken from this artist. Then why the hell didn't you contact them? Why didn't you go back behind the scenes like, listen, because they claimed that, okay, there was this other artist that had worked on it. It's not working for Bungie anymore, and they used a bunch of their work. So then why not initially contact the artist and then have them design new things to replace the shit that this fucking other guy did?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? Because they were hoping no one would fucking notice. And that's even worse. So, and this, what I would say is that this is also the symptom of what a lot of what happens in the industry, which is what they call photo bashing. What it is essentially, it's a quick and dirty way of doing concept art. And a lot of concept artists do this stuff. They'll take photos, they'll take all kinds of different other people's artwork, and then essentially it's to try to get to a solution quicker. So as opposed to sitting there and painting a bunch of stuff, you're like, okay, I'm going to use this thing there. But initially, those things are only meant should be only meant for internal use only. They shouldn't be shown to the public, and whoever does the concept art should make that incredibly clear. This isn't the first time that something like this has happened with a company. So Naughty Dog was caught red-handed too, where they used a photographer's piece inside of one of their concept arts, and it made it into Uncharted. In fact, it was sitting right on top of Drake's right above Drake's fireplace. It was this photo, this painting that they did that essentially photo bashed together. And according to some of the research that's going on, this is also not the first time that Bungie has done this. So this is the 5th occasion that this has happened. So there's a bunch of stuff, for they say what at least from the source it says it's been happening since 2012. So we're Destiny, right? It's
Yep,
been
it's all
happening
Destiny.
during
Yeah.
Destiny. So it's a bunch of Destiny stuff. Like, there's literally concept art where they literally just ripped off a figure from the person's artwork and swapped the head out. Still has the lighting from whatever the original artwork was. They're even able to identify a background character and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happens, and it sucks. And the thing is, this is the one like the thing about it is that these things have happened before in the past, but none of them have gotten this sort of. We never heard about this,
No, not
right?
about Bungie. No, not that I'm
Not
aware
about,
of.
but not about
Yeah.
Bungie, or like it didn't hit so hard that it literally hit mainstream media. It was just like, okay, I'm sure it was just a guy just like, hey, this happened. Maybe it was a little article here or there, but this is probably the most high profile case of this
Yeah.
art theft
Do you
that has
think
happened with them.
Do you think it's high profile because Gene reported it?
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, he definitely bought attention to it, because he legitimately went out and talked to the artists, who did it, and interviewed them about what the issue was. So no, that's the thing about it. It's like there's a lot of cases of art theft that happen within the game industry, but they sort of go on, you know, get unrecognized
Yeah.
or unseen, because sometimes, a lot of times what happens, it'll be from a smaller artist. It just so happens that this person is actually a pretty well known designer. They have a pretty strong following. So yeah,
Damn, they fucked up.
they fucked up seriously. And they claim that whoever is there, they didn't mention the person's name, obviously, doesn't work there anymore. So was it the same person that was stealing artwork from other artists for Destiny?
Yeah, or do you think it's just like a studio culture thing?
No, I don't think. I think, like I said, I think it is a part of what happens when photo bashing becomes your source for concept. Again, photo bashing is like if you took a big old collage and you were able to essentially take different elements so that you're not sitting there painting things and doing all this additional work. But the problem is, they should know better not to show any of that stuff to the public. That shouldn't be on the table as far as like promotional artwork or any of that stuff. If it's going to be used as some sort of concept art, it should be reevaluated and changed. It shouldn't be shown to the rest of the public. So that's the biggest mistake that they had. Whatever concepting that this person did behind the scenes, and they probably, they use all kinds of different elements from this other creator, this other designer. They should have changed those things before it even hit anything that became final assets.
Yeah, that's crazy. Chris, what do you think about all this, man?
Well, it's a systemic problem for sure, because I mean that art director went on that podcast and he had to fess up to it, and he was getting bashed. But how did all these assets get approved? They have to go through approvals, right? They have to go up the chain to someone, probably him and other people see it. You know where it came from, right? You can't tell me they didn't know where it came from, and it's in the game, right? And then people do an alpha test and they're like, "Oh shit, this has watermarks on it," right? That's ridiculous. That to me, like how that is either gross incompetence or this was allowed. That you have a culture of this problem, because, and I think it's the second one, because this is happening with Destiny too. They have a problem with art theft, right?
Yeah,
So this is a systemic problem inside of Bungie,
that's what I think too. I
and
think
it's
it's a culture within the company itself.
yeah, and I don't know if it's because, like, hey, we have rush deadlines and they just don't care, and maybe they're hoping Sony have their backs with litigation or whatever. Whatever the reason, it's bad. It's a horrible practice. You have to compensate any type of work you get outside. Like Manny said, you have to contact the artist, ask permission, or fucking contract them to make
Yeah,
you
contract
assets,
them to do
right?
it.
You know, and make new assets, and that's it. If you like their work, then just contract them, work out something, and get new assets, right? And they're
One
yours, right? Start,
one
get
thing
legal stuff involved.
one thing that also tends to happen is if they can't get the artists to do the work, they will do, essentially a style pull. They'll essentially be like, okay, we can't get so and so to draw this or design this. We'll do something exactly like it.
Yeah.
And which, again, like when you do those sorts of things, you have to make sure you're far enough away from the original source so that, you don't get situations like this. But at the same time, you can't copyright a style. You can copyright a font. You can copyright a specific design, like sense, but you can't do a style.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So I agree with that. But this and just leading into the next thing, this is like this is like Bungie telling Firewalk, hold my beer. Let's see how fast we could get this thing to fail. Right. This is ridiculous. You have already bad blood. The game already looks like trash,
Yeah.
and now you got this on top of it, right? Doesn't play well, doesn't look good, and you're stealing art. This is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. But going back to your other point, it's true. It's like it would probably, actually not probably, it would cost less to hire the artist than go through all this legal shit afterwards.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Who says there's any legal thing that's going to happen? We don't like.
Yeah, that's also true.
That's like, maybe they'll try to smooth this thing over before it gets that far. But like, half the time, a lot of artists don't even have the fucking money to take these things to fucking court.
Do you think that's the reason they do it? They're like, these motherfuckers can't sue us. Who cares?
Yeah. No,
Damn,
that's
fucked
it.
No, I definitely think that's it, because Bungie now has the weight of Sony and their legal team behind them, right? So I think, who's going to sue us, right?
That's a good point.
Even if they find out, what are they going to do? Take us to court, do an injunction? Who cares? We got lawyers, right?
Exactly.
I think that's probably the answer. That's why they do it, because they know they could get away with it.
Well, but here's the thing,
and they have gotten away with it.
Not to mention, like, if you're an artist, again, let's say that this artist didn't copyright her. I can't remember if it's a he or her. I'll just say they. That they didn't copyright, and the designs and the fonts for this stuff. And then they tried to they essentially, obviously it is always assumed that, when you make something, you own the copyright, but it doesn't work that way. You have to have legitimate proof that you had made this design. So that means copywriting it and then taking it to the thing. You can't do the stupid, the what we call in the industry the poor man's copyright, because I don't even think the courts even look at that shit anymore, which is essentially taking your idea and shipping it to yourself, right? So that you have, and don't open that envelope, because that can't be tampered with, right? A postage date. But even that, you can't really do that, and a lot of times they throw those things right out. You have to have that thing copyright and trademarked and all that stuff in order before you can even prove any of this stuff. So, granted, it's not incredibly expensive to do that sort of thing, but you have to have all of your anything that you put out into the world, especially when, that's why I always say it's a catch-22 as to your art being stolen by someone or something, aka AI, because even if you do it, you have to do the footwork of something like this. And I think the smartest thing that this person did was essentially throw it on the court of public opinion, because they probably wouldn't have been able to take it to court otherwise, the actual court.
Yeah.
And then, not to mention how long it would take for these things to get in. Bungie could already have the damn game out already, and they're still fighting. This artist is still fighting this thing in court.
Shit.
Because the justice system doesn't move fucking fast. Not to mention, let's say this person is from another country. That's also another thing in the whole situation. We don't
ton of legal maneuvering. Like, usually companies will move court dates or move the case to another venue, to try to bleed you out, right? Because you're both paying legal fees at the time. Sony can pay legal fees for years, right, and not take a hit. That the artist can't, right? So if Sony keeps doing delays and then going, I want to move this to this venue. I want to move this to forget New York. We're gonna move it to Texas. We're gonna move it to California, right? Now that artist got to travel to California, re-register the case, do all sorts of stuff. Their lawyer has to probably travel, or they got to get different lawyers. This costs money, right? So they try to bleed you out like this. These are cases like this is why when you have class actions or whatever, some of them go on like 2 decades, right? If you can even last that long, right? Who can last that long?
It's funny. I'm looking at anti-real. I believe it is a girl because I don't want to keep saying they. That's fucking stupid. Yeah, I'm looking at this art. The first thing that comes to mind, like, oh, this looks like Marathon. Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. That is insane.
And even the designer's like, oh, it's obvious that this person and we have the same aesthetics. No, it's not obvious that you and they have the same aesthetics. You stole it.
Fuck out of here.
Nah,
they're crazy, man. Yeah, so there you go. We'll see what happens because, like you said, Chris, this isn't the only bad things happening with Marathon. Apparently, and we will get to it soon because with the next question. But there's another thing that's happening in Marathon that Sony, y'all fucking up. You're about to have another Concord. All right, next up here, a couple questions from Mob Hits. And don't worry, J-Shep, we'll get to your other questions. I just wanted to put the Marathon ones back to back. From Mob Hits here, with Bungie being scrutinized for stealing shit and Jade Raymond's departure, is the PlayStation Games as a Service initiative dead? I think we could say it's dead.
Yeah, it's looking that way. I mean, I forgot who made the post. They literally had the list of it had 18 titles that they had listed.
18.
18.
Wow.
I forgot who it was, but it was a whole list of them, like 18 titles, and I think it's like less than half of them are still exist.
Yeah. Here's some of the vibes have never been worse, quote unquote, at Bungie. Morale's at an all-time low with developers worried about Marathon's future. They allegedly canceled the entire campaign marketing schedule for June. Oh shit! And then the other thing I heard is guess what? The game might be delayed till next year.
No.
So
they got a lot of things to fix with that thing. Was it being being an extraction shooter that nobody really cares to want? Nothing like anything like what the original Marathon was ever.
One of the things, okay,
not to mention.
Go ahead, Carlos. Yeah.
Oh, and that's just not to mention that the whole Jade Raymond situation as well.
Yeah.
We don't know what the hell's going to happen in that studio with their games as a service game. So, yeah, Sony, Jim Ryan's legacy, man. That's this.
But there was I posted from one of these other guys on Twitter posted a whole list of what do you call it? Of all the things that Jim Ryan was responsible, and then I posted it was a Killmonger saying, "This is your king."
No, because you still have some Jim Ryan stands out there. Crazy enough,
Yeah,
he made a lot of money.
He made us a lot of money. He didn't make you any money,
He make you money.
No, it's crazy. Yeah. I forgot what I was. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So yesterday, I was hanging out with a bunch of gaming writers. So obviously we're talking about this among other things. And one of the things, and we talked about this on the show too. It's like a company sees a game. It's like, oh, that shit's making a lot of money. Let's make our game. But the problem is, since games take forever to actually make, by the time you jump on this bandwagon 5 years later, it's like no one cares about that bandwagon anymore. Like when I reviewed Suicide Squad, the one that came out last year, that was my strap line. I said 10 years too late to the looter shooter party. And now these guys are trying to jump into the extraction shooter party when that shit's already passed. So
it's the thing about it is like Sony's going about this the wrong way. It's not supposed to take 5 to 6 years to make those titles.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be low budget investments.
Not to them. You know, a
No,
marathon
you know,
costs like $1
you have
billion or some crazy shit.
yes, so
yeah.
it suffers from, you know, what they call what a lot of people call the bungee bloat,
Yeah.
which is that's also, you know, like it's the same thing happened with Destiny, where Destiny costs way more than it should have to develop because of just the way their internal politics were, you know, the way they work. They probably didn't have a full on idea, and I feel like this is another one of those situations. A lot of money being poured into this thing, this 5-6 year investment, where they really should have, it should have been, they really should have been a smaller affair, where initially you can just, like, you have a smaller, like a simpler idea, and then as the time progresses, that's when you start adding things. Like Player Unknown Battlegrounds wasn't a expensive game. It was a, you know, it just had one thing that it did well, which
Yeah.
was that, you know, which was the, you know, the shrinking you know, battle royale thing. And then eventually they started adding things, and it's the same thing with Fortnite. It's like they had their thing that they did, and then they started adding to it. And I think a lot of these things are just not, they're spending way too much on these ideas.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole initiative obviously been a failure, and now Sony only has one major AAA game coming out this year. Just Joe Sayote. That's it. You know, Death Stranding doesn't count. So yeah, this whole thing is just a hot mess. You know. But Rich, I want to get your thoughts on this, man. Sony's games as a service initiative.
Well, that is a phenomenal question by Mob Hits. Marathon will be a flop. And speaking of marathon, it sounds to me like Bungie will be running marathons trying to escape all this bad news that they're going to be getting and all the negative perception that they already have.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. They're going to be running, but for the wrong reasons. It's insane. It's like we were very skeptical about all this for years, and look what's happened. We were pretty much right again, you know. But you know, so Rich, I guess don't expect to see Marathon like Summer Game Fest now, you know. But
Well,
who knows?
yeah, that definitely won't be there. But one thing I will say is, you know, obviously a lot of blame directed towards Bungie as should be, but I kind of feel like there needs to be some repercussions from this, and Sony especially. Like, I definitely want to hear all of the Sony fanboys. They better be criticizing this as well. And this is a direct message to anyone that's a Sony fanboy to listen to this podcast. I want to hear what your explanation will be for all this stuff happening, because I think there's no excuses whatsoever. Everybody needs to be called out on this.
Yeah, no, well said. I 100% agree. All right, anybody else want to jump in on that?
I just agree with what Rich said. You know, you need these are the things that we've been talking about for years. These are the things that we've been warning about people about when everyone in the Sony camp was dancing like it's the end of Return of the Jedi and the Moon of Endor. And it's like this is not gonna end well, and this is looking really bad. Yeah, they sold 77 million copies or consoles. But what the hell are you playing on that shit?
You know,
You're playing
third-party
Xbox games. That's what you're playing on it. I swear, man. If Microsoft was able to hold out just a little bit longer, you know.
what do you mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Like at least hold out a little bit longer to essentially try to pull people over. Like I feel like this was the year that all the shit started dropping.
Oh yeah, you mean like it's how people just come to Xbox, but now you don't need an Xbox.
Now you don't need an Xbox, and they're making good money, so they're gonna stay third party, and that's just the way it is. This is the way it is.
Oh,
Things
man.
will never be the same.
Yeah. Right. Hey, yeah. Brian, what are your thoughts about this, man? The whole marathon arts theft and then this whole games as a service nonsense.
I think that the whole art theft thing is just so funny because it's happened before and just continues to happen. And one thing that really irks me is the whole apology thing. And it irks me because, like with any type of situation like this, again, this is even goes outside of video games, and we've seen it with movie actors and YouTubers and whatnot. They always apologize after they've been outed, never before they've been outed, and they say that they are sorry. And I never believe that they are sorry, because if they were sorry for their actions, they would have had to apologize. Well, they would have thought to themselves, "This is wrong," and then apologized without being outed. So the fact that you apologize after getting outed means that you're not sorry that you did the thing. You're sorry that you got caught doing the thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's the big
That's
thing
it.
that always irks me. It's like, I know you're not sorry for doing the thing. You're sorry that you got caught doing the thing, and it's the same thing every single time. So that's just so infuriating.
Yeah,
So-
well, you notice how they frame their apology and never say we're sorry for our actions, right? Or that in this case, art theft. They usually couch it that they're sorry that people feel
Mm-hmm.
a certain way about it. Like, oh, we're sorry that you're so angry at us, and we're sorry. It's like that's not a real apology. You're
No.
not addressing the issue.
Nope. And do they say whether or not they'll be putting stuff in place to prevent this from happening again? Or is it just like,
Oh hell no! They just like this time. Next time,
Nope.
Gadget. They'll just
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my answer, and that's also what makes it even worse. You know, it's like that. It honestly just reminds me of that. Was it BP or Exxon that did that apology video, and then South Park just mocked it?
Oh, BP
It's-
did that. That's right. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, it just feels like that. It's like it's not. There's no genuineness to it. There's nothing. It's just hollow words being said so that they can say something. So whatever. I don't care. And of course, this is a massive stain on Bungie again. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on at Bungie. But then again, as we said, like these game studios are not the same that they were 10, 15 years ago. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay Shep who's joining us in the chat. So he has some interesting comments. He goes, Marathon will never see the light of day. Sony is due to make their last payment. After that, they will cancel Marathon and work on Destiny 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they do cancel it. Chris, what do you think about that?
I agree with that. I was actually, that's a good call because I was thinking that. I was like, this is definitely a worse situation than Concord. Concord, everybody saw it and like, this is trash. Like, came out. They didn't have these controversies. It's just a trash game. Just a woke trash fucking piece of garbage. But this has too much flack going in. The alpha test was bad. The art theft stuff. It just has too much going against it. You have no interest. So it's better for Sony to fold it now, like cut their losses, right? And just cancel beforehand. I think he's 100% right. I think you either put them on a new project, and you better get something to mitigate this art theft problem. You better put some policies in place. I don't know if you need oversight, if you need outside people to do some oversight on them. I don't know what, but you got to do something. But I agree with him 100%. This game is dead in the water.
Damn. Rich, I know you wanted to say something, but then I got a quick comment after that.
I just want to ask a question. You guys said this art theft situation has happened before, right?
Yeah.
So we can pretty much say that it was destined to happen again.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, no surprise. No surprise whatsoever.
Oh man. So Chris, going back to your point, it's like Marathon, looked at Concord, who the game was released, was out for 2 weeks, one of the worst launches ever. Marathon looked at it, it's like, hold my beer, I got you, because it seems this game may not even come out now.
Yeah, we're dead in alpha testing.
Yeah, like forget releasing. We're just not going to come out at all.
Not at all, yeah.
Shit.
So what's Fair Games gonna do? Jeez.
Close.
How could we top this one?
Yeah, close.
not-
That's what they're going to do.
You
Just
won't
close
have
it
to
now.
worry about that until next year, because it definitely ain't coming out this year.
Oh man, dead in the water. All right, man. Let's move on to some lighter news here. Mob hits again. This one's an interesting question. Which is better, the Capcom Fighting Collection 1 or 2? Also, do we need a third? Very interesting question. So obviously the first one came out 2022, and you could pretty much call that the Darkstalkers collection. And then this new one, you could kind of call it the Capcom vs. SNK collection. So, well, I mean, we're going to get a little bit more into it. But the short answer is, I'm just going to say now, which one's better? The one that has the games that you like the most. Let's just be honest here. Because the lineup of the games in each collection is so different. They're hard to compare, you know? If you like Darkstalkers, I mean, if you're a Capcom, I buy both of them. But yeah, if you're a big Darkstalkers guy, you'll like the first one better. If you want Capcom versus SNK, you want this one, and the 3D games, obviously. But I would say the first compilation is a little bit more diverse with its lineup, because you got Puzzle Fighter in there, you got Gem Fighter, you get the robot fighting game with what's his face? Cyberbots, yeah. So it's a little bit more, but then again, you could say, but half that collection is fucking Darkstalkers games, so touche for that. And then obviously with the new one, you get half of it is 2D games, the other half is 3D games. Some 3D games have never been released in North America. So yeah, it really comes down to what you prefer. I mean, I don't think one is objectively better than the other, because they both give you, at the end of the day, both give you the same features. And the first Capcom Fighting Collection was the one that started giving you all that cool stuff, all the filters, all the button remapping, all the cool museum shit. So you're not going to go wrong with either. But if I'm speaking personally, which one do I like more? The Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. I know that wasn't a question, but still. But again, that goes to my point, because that's all the games I really, really like, you know? I will say the first Capcom Fighting Collection doesn't have any duds. They're all great games. Whereas Capcom Collection 2 has one dud, one big dud. The Fighting Jam, which is absolute trash, you know? But yeah, you can't really go wrong with either. They're both fantastic. And I really want Capcom to release a Street Fighter version like this, because the one we currently have, the 30th anniversary, was made by I forgot what studio it was, but it wasn't Capcom. Capcom did make it, and it's not a good version of those games, you know? Like it is not. So hopefully they'll do it right. But they're both fantastic, so go check them out. Check them both out. I'm still kind of annoyed that you can't get the second one physical at the moment. Manny, I've talked to some other people and they had the same situation as you. They pre-ordered shit, and all of a sudden the pre-order is just gone.
Yeah, the pre-order is there. My pre-order is there, but it's just sitting there. But the funny thing is that actually happened with the Marvel vs. Capcom collection too.
Interesting.
Where it was just mysteriously, like, I had it there for a while, and it just showed up later. There's no release date on it.
Yeah, and we can't even say, because I know they released the physical version later, but you could get the physical Switch version right now, you know?
Yeah. So what is it about that PS4 version that's off?
Yeah, and I think you get the Xbox one too as well right now. So I don't know, something's up. But yeah, the collection are two different, so I can't say one's better than the other, you know? All right, next up. Ooh, we got a question from one of our longtime listeners, Mr. Ramudeth. Usually he likes to sponsor questions, but this one he has an actual original question. No remakes this week. And Manny, this question's for you as well. You get a lot of questions. You're a popular boy tonight, you know?
What is this? What did I do this time?
Yeah. Actually, it looks like the question is for you and B. It goes, Manny, I saw your post about how getting online in a fighting game is like being thrown into the deep end of a pool. Can you explain this in more detail? Also, what does Tony think of Manny's take? Ooh, interesting. But yeah,
Manny's take.
But yeah, I saw your tweet. It was in response to just basically somebody went on the Steam forum to talk about what to do about Justin Wong just destroying everybody in another fighting game. And it was just this long-winded thing. But then you had an interesting take, which I'll just say right now, I agree with the last half of it. The first half, not so much. But we'll get into that. But yeah, what would you think? Because I thought it was interesting.
So the way I likened it to being thrown into a pool, like a public pool, right? If you don't know how to swim, the most a lot of times you'll have a situation where it's like on one end of the pool, one end of the pool you have the kiddie side where there's a lot, or first time swimmers, old people, right? That usually stay on that side. The minute that if you jump onto the deep side, you don't know how to swim, you'll sink, right? Or if you're trying to swim, there's a bunch of assholes that usually hang out on that side of that end of the guys who know how to swim and make fun of you and do all kinds of bullshit and not let you do what you need to do. And that's what I see a lot of the fighting game online is. It's like you have this deep end that everybody gets thrown into, and everybody's, most of the people are better than you or whatever, and you just get your ass thrashed. Why would you want to play that if you're a first time player or any of that other stuff? Right?
Yeah.
So my somewhat solutions were, and these are just ideas, where I thought of like, okay, let's say there was a checks and balances before you got in the pool. In other words, if you had your people that are, you already have an established set of people that are, because of their previous gaming history, right? They get put into a section that has a little bit more of a challenge to them. So in other words, they, based on how, your rating on Street Fighter or any of those other games. So in other words, a report card that goes from all your different titles, so that you end up being in a room that is more conducive to the people that are more experienced players. What's up, Cat?
Yeah, shout out to Manny's Cat. He has a lot to say about this topic.
He's got a lot to say. And then that was one possibility, right? You had like essentially a thing that something that already sifts out the wheat from the chaff. So in other words, you have your initial, so you don't have a situation that Justin Wong can just jump into a fucking room and just whip everybody's ass in the lower ranks. Justin Wong will already be pushed off to the side to fight all the heavier guys. But obviously, there's an easy way around this. He can make a new email address, and then he can, do that all over again. But I would say, like, try to get all those guys off to the side initially, or set them up already in their sections, and then then you have your people, your weaker players, or your on their level, and work their way up. The other thing I talked about,
I want to talk about the coaching thing. I found this very interesting.
The other one I was thinking of was a lifeguard. So every pool has a lifeguard, right? Or a person that keeps an eye over things. So what if you had or a person to help you swim? What if you had that person? In other words, a lifeguard system, a person can hold on for a second.
The Manny's Cat is going ham right now. You pick him up and just pet him or something, That's probably what he wants. He's probably wants some attention. So, let me actually pull up Manny's tweet. Oh, there you go. Yeah, grab the cat. That'll get him to shut up. he clearly wants attention, There you go.
He's been an attention whore all day.
Well,
anyway,
nothing wrong with that. People get to see the cat now. Win-win. The cat gets attention. People get to see the cat. Perfect.
So. Okay, so what if there was like a system where, in other words, that promotes other players helping each other out? So where you will have like, I guess, a designated lifeguard who player that can essentially like gives the other player a chance, helps them learn how to play the game, as opposed to just wailing on them and saying, "Hey, get good," right? And then what you do is you have like an incentives on it. Like, okay, if you decide to be part of the lifeguard or the trainer group, you get like cool things. Like, oh, hey, you get a little bit of money off of here, or you get maybe some cool new costume that is only for those people. Essentially, incentivize trying to teach other players how to get better, as opposed to just telling them to get good. Or essentially having to watch him. What if you could sit with somebody like a Justin Wong? Let's say he applied for this thing or became part of this thing. What if you could sit with him? If you fight him, he could teach you how to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff. But here's what I wanted to say about that, because I see where you're coming from, I really am interested in the latter part, the coaching stuff. But I would have wholeheartedly agree with you 10 years ago. But matchmaking exists now. And it's actually really good. Like, for example, in Street Fighter 6 is the gold standard for this. When you first play the game, it has you play 10 preliminary matches to place you where you're supposed to go. I play those matches. It instantly threw me into silver ranks, which is pretty much in the middle. And I've never ever had a single game in that. I've never played any match where I felt outclassed, because if you're in that, if you basically need to have a certain specific amount of points, right? Once you go over those points, you're placed up to another rank. You can never go back to a lower rank. And if you do, like if you select a new character, you automatically will just re-roll and get put right back into the higher ranks because you're demonstrating how good you are. So that's so Manny, hold on a minute. Tekken does the same thing. You play 8 preliminary matches or so. I never had a problem with Tekken. I never feel like, oh, these guys are fucking me up. That's the gold example. Now, there's other fighting games like Fatal Fury that are exactly like you say. Actually, I would say they're worse, because Fatal Fury, they ask you, at what rank do you feel you are? Bro, are you fucking kidding me? So I went in there.
I'm a good swimmer.
Yeah, so I put myself as rookie because I'm not that familiar with SNK. There were some pool hustlers in there, bro. I'm like, bro, you did a 20-hit combo on me. Like, I don't think you're a beginner, bro. So yeah, for fighting games that have a big population, matchmaking is not a problem. You will never get put in a room with crazy people like Justin Wong. And here's the other thing, right? The guys that are fighting Justin Wong, he is not going in there fighting, like, he is not the one fighting Scrubs. Scrubs are coming to him, That's what's happening. He is not going into these lobbies because he wouldn't be allowed to. He has way too many points. But let's just say if you set your settings, so it's like, I want to face anybody. That's how they fight Justin Wong. He can't just roll in there. But that's some shit that would happen 10 years ago, or it still does happen in games with bad matchmaking, And then the other problem is what I described, it's still good with Tekken and Street Fighter because they have the most. But with any fighting game, the ideal situation happens within the first 2 weeks when people are learning the game, right? After that, like, you try to go into Guilty Gear now, Manny, you're going to get destroyed. Who are the only people playing? Heavy dudes,
Heavy dudes,
So the situation that you described, which would be cool, wouldn't work because there's no new people anymore. All of them are checked out. It's just the heavy guys. I do think matchmaking has gotten a lot better. That's not an issue. Again, I've never played Street Fighter where I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting fucking destroyed. Unless I go into a lobby with the heavy guys, So they've gotten much better with that. But I'm very intrigued by your coaching solution. And it would be nice if people would do that. But the problem is I'm just going to say, a lot of these fighting game guys, they're a bunch of sweat lords who are just there for themselves. And they're not really going to try to teach the younger guys or whatever, or the less experienced people how to get somewhere. So, because it would be cool. There are people that are out there willing to help out others. But I don't think there's enough of them. But it would be nice.
That's why I say you incentivize it. It's like, okay, so what am I getting by doing this?
Yeah,
give
them extra ranks or something,
exactly.
Some cool, because every game has a fighter pass or whatever where you get kind of unique items. Give them extra shit for that or something, And then here's the other thing. Go ahead.
There are definitely the way our world works. It's like a lot of people are just like, hey, why should I do this? What am I getting out of this? So it's like, okay, give them something for doing that. So in other words, to incentivize more people to want to do it, as opposed to just like, all right, you should be good, you should help. It's just no.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also the situation you described is pretty much like the old school arcades. When you had those sweaty guys in there, they would just fuck everybody up. You wouldn't get a turn. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you put your quarter in, you don't get to play. But that was way more prevalent back in the old days, man. Fighting games are a lot better with that now.
But like, you'll also find situations like, obviously, because there's an actual person standing next to another person. A lot of those guys were, when a little kid would roll up, they'd be a little bit more, give them a little bit more.
Yeah, they would. They would. That's a whole other topic I could get into, because one of the problems with fighting games now is like people go into ranked matches, they get fucking destroyed like 10 matches in a row and stuff, and they keep getting madder and madder and madder, and they just keep de-ranking. In the arcades, that wouldn't happen. What would happen in arcade? You go up, you fight against a strong guy, you get fucked up, you go right back to the line, and then what do you do during that time? You look at what the guy's doing, you talk to other people and stuff. You know, I wish there was a way to replicate that online, because if you got, I mean, I know you could like rewatch your replays and see what you did. And I really like how Tekken tells you, hey, you could have done this. Oh, why don't you try that? You know, like you kind of like mess around with history. But people should not go into ranked, get fucked up 20 times in a row. No, stop. Like, if you want to replicate that arcade experience, stop after 3 matches, assess what you did wrong, and then come back. But the other problem is you don't have the other aspect where it's like, yo, man, he fucked me up. What do I do? You know, oh, you should do this, use that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe the guy himself, yo, maybe you shouldn't do that against me. No, you're doing that again. You know, I wish there was a way to bring that aspect into online fighting games where you could actually talk to the person that fucked you up, and they'd be like, oh, yo, try this, bro. You know? But yeah, it's very interesting stuff. But I agree with that. But yeah, those guys getting fucked up by Justin Wong, it's because they want to get fucked up. They're like, I want to play the high ranks. You know,
I just thought they were just getting thrown into the wolves.
Oh no. That doesn't happen.
So, but like okay, so if
that does happen in other fighting games though. Capcom fighting games not so much, but that absolutely happens, Manny. Where it's like, oh shit, what happened? You know, we get fucked up.
So like if they're willing to go and jump in there and then they quit after playing Justin Wong, that's their
stupid.
Own fault.
That is their own fault, and that's the other thing I want to say, right? I think anybody that refunds their game because Justin Wong beat him is fucking retarded. I'm just gonna say it. You realize there's a lot more to do in this game, bro. I've put 31 hours at the Fighting Game Collection for. I haven't played a single match online. There's so much shit to do in the game. And I'll tell you this, if I ever go online and I get beat by Justin Wong, I'm recording that fucking clip. And I'm going to say...
because you fucking fought Justin Wong.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. You know, that's a badge of honor to get fucked up by Justin Wong. You know? So these dudes are crazy. What's going on, Jeff? Shout out to him. Jeff, since you're there, bro, happy belated birthday, brother. You know?
Yo, man, happy birthday.
Yeah, there you go. You and Manny are like 2 days apart when it comes to birthdays.
From one Taurus to another.
Jeffrey goes, when I would get bodied in VF5, I'd go to the home screen and watch other matches to cool off. Yeah, that's important. I purposely, when I'm playing online, if I lose 3 in a row, I stop. Take a break. Take a little break, because that's what you would do in the arcade. You know, you play like two best out of 3. If you get fucked up, cool off. Because it's not doing you any favors to just keep going. Because if you're already mad because you're losing, you're going to keep losing because you're fucking mad. Yeah, you know? And you're going to start getting beaten by dumb shit. You know? So, yeah. But again, it would be cool. It's like, yo, what the fuck did I do wrong? Yo, bro, why are you doing that shit against me? Try this, you know? Because dudes will try to help each other. Yeah, Virtua Fighter, again, Manny, that's another example. You jump into Virtua Fighter online, it is being thrown in the deep end because those guys have been playing for 20 years nonstop. You know?
Oh yeah, those guys. Like I did like a few of those matches on there. I got utterly owned. But
yeah.
I didn't know if I did. I probably did only do 3.
Yeah, but yeah, because the problem with that is like, if it can't find anyone at your skill level, it'll keep going. It'll keep going up and up and up. You know, and in Virtua Fighter, it's just a bunch of sweaty guys playing. Let's just be honest. You know. But yeah, I saw that post. Romulus saw that post. Excuse me, almost broke the fourth wall there. Good stuff there. Jay Shep actually asked me this question right now. Do people use AI to cheat in fighting games? I don't know about AI, but they on PC, bro. They use mods, man. Sometimes there was this one Tekken player. They got caught. They got caught. Lovely. Mm-hmm. Basically, they added a mod where they would like auto block anything, you know, and like during a live stream, they were playing and then they got distracted. They were doing some other shit. Their character still kept doing stuff, you know. It's like, bro, and this is why a lot of like console players purposely disable matchmaking for with PC guys, because you know. Sometimes, people want to say, oh, all PC people. No, they don't. It's not all of them. but some do, and that's why they disable like matchmaking with PC. I wish there was I think I talked to J Shep about this before. I wish there was a way where you could matchmake with other people from other consoles. Because I just leave it on. I'm like, if I have to deal with a cheating PC guy, then so be it. So I've never faced one of those yet, but that absolutely happens. But has it happened with AI? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised, But I wouldn't even know how that would work. But mods absolutely exist, and those people, when they do get discovered, thankfully do get banned. But from what I understand, Bandai Namco does not do a very good job of banning these people. So that's kind of fucked up, But yeah, there you go. Let's move it on here. A few more questions here from J Shep, and obviously, we're just going to take them all because we didn't get a lot of questions this week. This one's funny. Am I the only part-time gooner picking up Stellar Blade on PC? Like I already said, I'm going to be getting the review code probably. But is anybody here going to be buying it on PC? And Brian, I'm looking at you specifically.
Yep, I'm getting it on PC.
Nice.
But that was the plan originally when I heard that it's coming out in general. I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait for the PC version, or I'd assume it was PC on PlayStation day and date. But then when it wasn't, I was like, okay, I'm sure it's coming out on PC. It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. And you're a patient man, so that's good. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this game's about. I think I had this thing on the show notes, but I took it off. But there's a lot of really cool things they're adding. They're even adding bosses and stuff. New costumes, obviously. So I'm looking forward to checking it out for sure. Carlos, what about you? You gonna play it on PC?
No, I got it on PlayStation, so when I get to it, it'll be on PlayStation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Manny, what to say?
I'm guessing all that stuff. Is eventually going to come over to the PS4 version or
PS5. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would think so too. Like a special edition or something,
Yeah, or like an upgrade thing, like a DLC extra, because they've been giving away a lot of shit for free anyway. So
yeah,
they did mention that all the stuff that's on PC is also coming on PlayStation in a patch.
I wonder if there's a crossplay ability too.
Cross save, you mean?
Cross save ability. In other words, like you say, maybe I know that this game is one of the ones that doesn't have you log into PlayStation, but it would be interesting if it did do something like that, where if you did log into your PlayStation, account with using that game, you get a cross save, or you get a couple other things that might be fun. You get your trophies. Or
that would be cool.
Chivos.
Yeah, isn't it just trophies? I don't think it's on.
Well, I mean, when you put it on Steam, you get achievements.
Oh yeah, the Steam achievements. Manny's categories with that.
Yes, he does. He doesn't like.
Yo, man, feed that motherfucker.
that bitch is already eating.
Yo, he ate.
He ate already. No, he just doesn't like that the door is closed.
Uh-oh.
Jossie closed them in here with me.
Oh, he doesn't like that. I hear that, man. Yo, man, he already ate. He done been ate. Man, you're muted.
He fat. He fat. He's fat. He can eat his own fat.
Eat his own fat. He done already ate. All right, another question here from Mr. J Shep. Which game will see the light of day first? The KOTOR remake or Perfect Dark? That's a funny one. I don't know, because wasn't KOTOR remake like canceled or shelved or something?
It's in limbo. Perfect Dark at least had some gameplay.
Yeah. I don't know. J-Shep, that's a great question, as Richard would say. I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. I think both of those games will come out before whatchamacallit. But I don't know. Why am I forgetting the name of the fucking game? Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think they'll both come out before that.
Talking about a game that actually had gameplay, right?
Yeah, well, shit. What about the rest of you guys? I'm clueless. I have no idea which one is going to come out first.
Gotta have something.
What about you, Carlos? What do you think? What's going to come out first? KOTOR remake or Perfect Dark?
I think Perfect Dark, just because Microsoft is, in better position to release games these days. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that. KOTOR, who knows? Like you mentioned, I don't know. Did it even get canceled?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I would go with Perfect Dark.
All right, what about you, Rich? Mr. Richard Bailey Jr., are you there? There you are.
Sorry about that. It was muted. That is a phenomenal question. Yeah, exactly what he said. I'm gonna guess Perfect Dark. I don't know what's going on with the Kotor remake. I also thought that got canceled, so we did see a little bit of Perfect Dark. But let me be perfectly clear. When I say that it will be coming first, it does not mean it's coming next year. That game may not come until maybe 2027.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think? Which one's going to be coming out first?
I think Perfect Dark, because the KOTOR remake's going to have problems because BioWare has problems.
Oh, shit, that's a good point. I think Brian may have answered the question.
Yeah, I am not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, okay, yep. I think that's it then. It's Perfect Dark. There you go. All right. Oh, I almost missed this question, J Shep. Sorry about that. Even though some publishers are racing game prices, and I'm glad J Shep's here for this one. Even though some publishers are racing game prices, we are also seeing many AAA games released between $30 and $50. What are your thoughts? My question is, what are these games? I'm not being an asshole. I honestly don't know what AAA games are coming out that are costing $30 or $50. Expedition 33 doesn't count,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's referencing that type of game, but Expedition 33 is a AA game that competes with AAA games.
Yeah, and J-Shep, you're there. Can you give me a list of 3 games? Again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I honestly don't know, because Expedition 33 does not count. Because it seems that publishers are charging you the same price as always. $70. I don't know if he stepped away right now, but does anybody else here in the panel know about any AAA games that are costing between $30 and $50 released recently this year?
Not that I know of.
Oh, he goes, my fault. I'm probably counting AA games and remakes. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because those AAA games that cost $30, $50 don't exist. They do not exist. You're probably, that's, it's all right. But to kind of sideway, toss in another angle, you should get more games at that price, even if they're not AAA,
Hey, I have a question for Carlos.
Uh-oh.
And Carlos can answer this now that he has completed it. So, Carlos, do you consider Expedition 33 AAA or AA?
It's not really, the way I define it is more by definition or more like technical in a sense. Like, we're talking about budget wise, we're talking about studio wise, or a combination of both. This game, even though I don't know what the exact budget is for this game, I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near the size of a budget of an actual AAA game like Call of Duty, Halo, or any of those. So, and the studio was only, the main studio. People would be like, oh, they got contractors. The main studio was only 30 people by a studio releasing, I guess, their first game. I don't know if they released something previously to this, but this is the first game I know that they released. So I think by... Yes, that's the first. Game.
It is their first game. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think by most definitions, at least for me, this is a AA game.
Yeah, I mean, the game cost $15 million to develop. I think that's AA right there. And it's like 30 people in the studio. Oh, Tony, what about the contractors? Shut the fuck up. It's a small studio, All right, moving on here. Last two questions of the night from Mr. Assyrian Air Force. And this is a question we kind of get every year, at least once a year. But why not? Throw it in here. Which console from any era had the best looking limited edition?
Ooh.
If Adam was here, he'd be like, "Oh, Gears of War."
I mean, I would say the 360 had a really nice Halo one.
Let me look that one up.
Yeah, I had that one, Manny. Remember I took it
that's
how
the
many
one
times?
I still have it. I still have it under my television. So
Yeah,
that
man. I
one.
tried to save that thing. I was begging them to reflow. The guy wouldn't do it.
Oh man. All right. Anybody else have? Because again, just like every time we get asked this question, I always blank because I never buy any of these. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Console,
I never,
right?
I
Console,
always
it has to be a
wanted one,
console,
but
yeah.
never could get one.
Which one? So which one did you want, Manny?
Well, no, I mean, I always wanted one, like a special console.
Yeah.
Like at the time of Metal Gear. At the time of Metal Gear Solid 4, they had that gunmetal gray PlayStation that was never released here in the States, or it was limited
Oh,
in
that's
other
right.
places.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I never was able to get that one. I wanted to see if I could get the MGS 5 one. Nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that Halo one does look nice. The Halo 3 one. There was a Donkey Kong one. That's kind of fun. Oh, there's like a cool blue PlayStation 2 and Astro Blue. There's a Star Wars one, Xbox 360 one. It's like R2D2. It's kind of fun. There was a white PS2. I remember there was a white PS3 as well. I think Riku was talking about that one. It's a Homer Simpson Xbox. There's a lot of 360s, man. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, we'll replace them once they broke.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Again, I always don't know about this because I never buy any collected special editions of these.
The God of War PlayStation 4 was pretty cool. I bought that one when it came out. The Dad of War one. I like the PlayStation 4 Pro Anniversary Edition, like the bluish one. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Oh, speaking about that, the PS5 Pro Anniversary Edition with the PlayStation stuff, that was cool.
Oh yeah, that was nice. Yep.
Yeah, but I don't remember the one you're talking about though.
It was I forgot which anniversary, 25th anniversary, where it was like bluish, kind of, I think a little bit translucent.
Yeah, because I see one like that for
that one-
PS2. Is that what you're talking about, or
No, PS4.
oh, okay? There's a Batman one, like a PS4 Batman edition.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that good.
Nah, it
It's
wasn't.
just it was just the thing on the
motherfucker.
It was just the thing on they put on the side. What was it?
Yeah, it was on the side. Yeah,
Yeah, like that was one thing I did like about the PlayStation 4, where you could get like the special edition could just be something as simple as changing the hard drive cover, but I was never able to get any of those either.
Uh-oh. J-Ship goes, what about the SpongeBob Xbox? Sure. I don't even remember that one. That's funny.
Nobody wants.
Oh, there it is, Carlos, the translucent blue PlayStation. Damn, someone's selling that shit for $1,000. Damn, that shit looks nice though, Carlos. The PS4 Pro one. Damn.
Yeah, man, I wanted that one, but I was like, nah, that's enough because I already
Yeah.
had like 3 of them.
Do make it, you know.
It was 2 makers.
It's crazy, man. All right. And the last one. I think there's another one. Actually, no, we haven't gotten this one specifically. Which studio acquisitions from the big 3 have been major disappointments? He goes, for me, it's been Bungie. I thought Sony had something special for multiplayer, but it has been bad. I think Rare was a bad one. You know, look what Xbox has done to it.
Blue Point.
That was a bad
Utter
one.
waste of fucking. Yeah, it was because what did they have Blue Point working on? They had them working on what was it?
Demon Souls?
No, not Blue Point wasn't doing. He did the game after that.
Oh.
It was it was like a multiplayer game. I can't remember what it was, but it was like something that they had them that it's totally not them. It was like an online multiplayer game that they had just canceled. Or yeah, I think they canceled it. That is a big disappointment to me. You have a company that's go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. My bad.
You have a company that's literally good at doing these sorts of ports and remasters and all that sort of stuff. You totally help them with their back catalog, and then they have them working on some stupid thing. I can't remember what it was. It was like, I don't know. It was like some online mode for some game.
Yeah, were you gonna say, Carlos?
Yeah, I remember we were championing the acquisition. We're all like excited because we saw what they were doing beforehand, and it turns out they just ended up doing other stuff. So yeah, I would agree, unless they they change things in the future. But I would go with Rare. Rare seems like
Rare.
as a pretty safe answer. I mean, even though Sea of Thieves was a success, I just, man, they just went from one of the best studios out to like made avatars for a decade.
Shit.
So yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah. What are some other ones? It seems the Bethesda one done pretty well for them, so can't count that. Activision one's done pretty well for them too. Our studio, this is from J-Shep, our studios that were canceled. Wait, are studios that were canceled more disappointing, or the studio that have been acquired and disappeared?
I would say like Firewalk. Didn't Sony acquire them?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Get the result. I
Wait,
mean, Bungie
yeah.
is destined to go the same route, but man, I mean, how much 8 years and how much money and resources went into Concord? And
Shit.
dead in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Firewalk's dead.
Oh yeah, they're done. They're done. Anybody else have any studio acquisitions that you were really disappointed with? Yeah, it's hard, but I don't know. Like, again, Rare one is probably the big one for me.
I mean, I guess did Microsoft? Well, yeah, Tango GameWorks. That's part of Bethesda, right? I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, that's Bethesda.
Well, not anymore, right?
No, well, yeah, they're
Yeah,
gone.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Tango is now owned by another company.
I mean, yeah, that was just I mean, that was an acquisition too. Bethesda acquired them, gobbling each other up. It's crazy. Like, you have a fish swimming around, a big fish comes, eats them. Then a bigger fish comes and eats them,
Oh, that's what it was. It was a online God of War game. That's what they were making.
Oh, God.
That's what Blue Point was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because the online version of Ascension was so great, so highly regarded, right? We needed that some more. Jason goes, you mentioned Activision. Did you hear about COD Mobile? No, I have not, because I don't keep up with mobile games. What happened with COD Mobile?
Aren't they closing it down?
I legit wouldn't know.
I think that's what's happening to it. They're closing it down. In fact, I think that was one of the reasons why they said that they acquired Activision was for their mobile division. And they're literally closing down the bunch of their mobile.
That's
division.
funny. If that's what's happening, that's funny. Adam would be able to talk about that, but he's busy with the Last of Us, which everybody is tweeting about right now, because of course they are, because dudes got to spoil things for other people. All right, man. I think we're done here. Some good stuff. Let's start wrapping it up with some pluggings. Rich, what's coming up on the Coalition this week?
Yeah, so myself, Mr. Adam Vale, Mr. Carlos Romero, we just reviewed the latest episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City, episode 3. I Am Negan podcast. It is currently on the YouTube channel as well as the website, so check that out if you are a Walking Dead fan. Of course, Adam, has been doing the TV terminal. He has a couple of shows he's been covering, Mobland and Last of Us. So check those out. They will also be on the website. And as for the Coalition this week, there'll be a couple of game reviews, some previews, a lot of stuff because I'm getting ready to go to Summer Game Fest in the next 2 weeks. So just taking some time. Oh yeah, just taking some time to catch up on a few things, cover a few different things. So definitely stay tuned to thecoalition.com.
That's what's up. I'll wait for Mandy to stop chewing so he could plug his stuff.
Uh-oh.
Having them late night snacks.
Yo, man, chew on this.
It's more dinner, but
Yo,
anyway,
man, it's crazy. Man, you eating late.
Eating late. So yeah, on skybound.com right now you can get a very special reprinting of G.I. Joe issue 21 with a cover by Kari Randolph and myself. This is the silent interlude issue where everything is all silent. It's all visual storytelling. Don't even need to know how to read in order to know what's going on. Good stuff. Special cover by Kari and myself, as well as this week you will be getting a Ninja Turtle. This will be Michelangelo for the issue, let's see, 7, 8, 9, for the 9th issue of the current IDW TMNT. Was a lot of fun to do those. We, sold them on doing a cool cover series, so it was nice to do these really cool pinup covers of the turtles. And there's a nice little reference to the old Ninja Turtle 80s cartoon on each of those covers. So
nice,
good stuff. Yep, and still a bunch of other things in the pipeline. Can't actually talk about it yet, but I would say that it's definitely a whole lot of nostalgia properties.
Ooh,
that's the only hint. So there you go.
Nostalgia's a good thing, man. By the way, real quick before we leave, since you brought up nostalgia, one of the things I was talking about yesterday, because sometimes, I like to wax nostalgic about all the things, and I've always maintained that the best decade is the 80s. And some people, have said, like, oh, Tony, it's because you're an old man. No, you got to realize I've been missing the 80s. I've been talking about the 80s hardcore since I was in my early 20s. So it's not a new thing, bro. I miss that decade. Everything about it, the aesthetics, the music, the people. I miss all that stuff, man. But it's not a new thing. It's not like, oh, I'm 45. I'm thinking about my younger day. No. When I was 22, bro, and Manny was there, like, yeah, man, we missed the 80s. That was some fun stuff,
Yep.
So
I mean, a lot of our current decade, for better or for worse, is all at least to follow, was all defined by the 80s. Tentpole films, blockbusters, big special effects films, all the marketing to kids.
Yeah,
So it all came from that era of stuff. So
yeah. I was in Industry City yesterday in Brooklyn, and we went to Book Off, and they had like die cast fucking toys. Remember those Bionic 6? Those motherfuckers that kill you, man. Oh man, but these are die cast Gundams, but it made me think about the Bionic 6 and the Transformers. I used to have the actual metal ones back in the day. Fun stuff. Voltron had that too.
Yeah, original Voltron was made of die cast.
That's why we weren't pussies, man. When you get in a fight with someone in second grade and they throw a Tonka truck at your head.
That's it. Don't fuck it up. Jay Shep goes, bro, everything was better in the 80s. Music, movies, anime, food, prices. Oh, everything, bro. all that, But yeah, just wanted to get that out there. I've been on this 80s kick since my early 20s, back in the early 2000s, bro. It's just like, after the 90s, I'm like, hey, I miss the 80s, bro. And then ironically, that's when you had VH1 do that whole series, We Were the 80s and stuff. It's just now that I'm like, I kind of, no. Now I'm just like, I kind of like the 90s too. But it took me a while because I was like, fuck the 90s, man. It ain't the 80s. I was like that for a long time. But now, I guess because of seeing how shit is now, it's like, yeah, we had it good in the 90s, didn't we? Fuck. That was probably the last, I know it wasn't the last sane decade. The 2000s was pretty good. 2010s, though, especially the mid-2010s, that's when things really started going off the rails, bro.
The end of the 90s was when they started the whole political correctness. Or
Yeah, because remember in the 90s when you brought up political correctness, it was just a joke, like, hey, being politically correct. And now it's the fucking law of the land, except they call it something else. And by the way, real quick, and then we'll sign off here. That's the other thing. I wrote an article, I think it's already up, about the Capcom collection that just came out. And I had a line in there that I took it out because it was a little bit too heavy. I said I miss these games because they remind me of a pre-9/11 world. That's the world I still miss, man. Everything got fucked up after 9/11, man. Life was good before 9/11, you know, and after that, you find out how the world really is, bro. Fuck. I miss the innocence, man. I miss the innocence. Actually, I guess that's tied in together, right? 9/11 happens, and then like a year later, I'm suddenly nostalgic for the 80s. It's all tied together, man. It's all tied together. Megatron transformed into a handgun. Hell yeah. The physics made no sense, but it didn't fucking matter. It was awesome. You know, he turned small enough to Starscream to grab. I always wonder, like, Starscream, you have a little Megatron now. Just crush him. You could become the leader of the Decepticons, bruh.
or Blaster or Soundwave, where they would shrink down to a boombox.
A boombox, yeah.
Fucking sound wave, man. Oh, yeah, right there turns a little boombox. That's such an 80s thing, bro. Yo, what do you transform into? A boombox, son. I love it, man.
I mean, you know what that was all about, right? It was they took two different toy lines and put them together.
Yeah, pretty much. Fun stuff, man. I miss the 80s. All right, we're done here, so make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Join the Discord. And check us out on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good week, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
We still don't know how many copies AC Shadows sold.
We don't know, Brian, but apparently their stocks fell 20%. And Brian, I'm confused by that. Why did their stocks fall 20%? They said 3 million players. I don't understand this.
I know. It makes no sense, Tony. Like, surely, if that's good news, then stocks would go up.
Yeah, I don't. They told us 3 million. I don't understand these things. All right, guys. We'll see you on Thursday. Later.
Laters.
It is.